Welcome to Inspire and Move, the show that inspires you to create, connect, and grow. I'm going to bring you meaningful conversations, aha moments, and all the motivation you need to up-level every part of your life. I'm Ali Aruda, founder of Inspire and Move, and your personal hype girl. I've gone from fashion school to celebrity stylist to corporate marketing to brick and mortar entrepreneurship with my husband, each time learning incredible lessons how to pivot, reimagine, and implement the steps to become successful. I am passionate about inspiring others to live their best life, a life of joy. We have the power to design a life that we love because life is too short not to. The best part is that you weren't meant to do this alone. If you feel like you were meant for more, let me ride shotgun with you, and together, let's get you to where you want to go.
All right, guys, the next thing to do if you want to be in the top 1%, this is number 4 of 6, exercise. And I know you're thinking, well, of course they're saying exercise, they own a gym, and they want everybody to sign up. No, look, you don't. We would love you to come and exercise at Benchmark Fitness and really see what 1% feels like to be part of a community that is elevated, to be part of a space that is elevated. We couldn't be more proud of it, but that's not what this is. This is not a shameless plug for Benchmark Fitness. This is a means of knowing that your health should be your biggest priority, first and foremost. It goes without saying, like Ali was mentioning earlier, you fill your cup first, and then once you have your cup that's full, you've got the ability to then support, basically pour in to everybody else. But how the hell are you pouring into somebody, whether it's mentally or emotionally or otherwise, if you haven't looked after yourself first? And some of the, if not all, quite frankly, of all of the 1%ers that I can think of, whether it be financial or otherwise, the one non-negotiable consistently is ensuring that they get their fitness game or regiment locked down, whether that be in their own home with a personal trainer, at their gym, on the road, at any of the hotels that they are at, whatnot. Non-negotiable, no excuses. And you don't need to spend hundreds of dollars a month to do it. It could be as simple as committing to 2 walks every single day. Whether you have a dog, you don't have a dog, find some friends, your partner, doesn't matter. 2 walks every single day. Any part of this is completely controllable and free. Whether or not you choose to up-level your game at a location like ours or anything along the way where you are, cool. You're talking about a fraction of the 1% now. But the ability to just get to being more or better than average literally starts with just opening your front door and taking a few steps.
It's one of the topics that I'm also really passionate about is exercise and moving your body. And I just shared some content recently and also an episode on here about 5 hacks to reset your mind and body, and exercise and movement was one of them. And it is so amazing to just, you could do a quick experiment for yourself. Like maybe you do 1 week on of exercise and 1 week off of exercise and really go inwards and see how you feel with the difference of not being able to move your body. And again, feeling the gratitude. That was actually one of the things that I said this morning in our gratitude practice is I am so grateful that I am able to work out and exercise so regularly, that my body is fully able, and my recovery speed and all of that. Like I just have so much gratitude for that because it is such a big part of my daily routine that makes me feel the best version of myself mentally, physically, and emotionally. Back over to me, number 5.
And I can round it if you want.
Yeah. Number 5, give back. And this is a wonderful one to foray into, kind of coming off of even just the example that I was sharing from vacation with these gents that serve poolside at Fairmont Mayakoba. And we have so much like love and gratitude for them that we were so excited at the end of every pool day to give them a generous tip. And that is just like a small example of giving back. But on a larger scale, it's also from a philanthropic standpoint, that we have become over the years very, very dedicated to the causes that we support. You know, I applaud people that support, 14 different causes. Everybody gets $100 or $1,000. And if you support multiple causes, gold star. But also perhaps you have more of a niche when it comes to your giving back. And that is what we are currently following. We do a lot of work and support for a company called, or an organization called, the USANA Foundation. This is the company that I did a service trip, a humanitarian trip last year with my mom. And it was truly amazing to be on the ground for 1 week on the Baja coast of Mexico, helping these families get access to food and like fresh food and gardens and community and support. And it was so amazing to see where the money goes and learn that 100% of the dollars raised for this foundation goes to the people that need the support. And that's something that I get excited to be a part of and to raise money for. That was a big part of what we were raising money for at my recent Women Inspiring Women event. And how amazing to have that personal connection. Same with mental health. I lost my brother to suicide because of bipolar disorder, mental health. And now, in this day and age, especially after those crazy years that we went through not too long ago, mental health is huge. So, being able to feel like a true connection and a passion to how you give back, to who you support, that is also is like on the joy barometer. It's something that helps you feel good and brings you joy to give back, whether it is giving someone a really generous tip. We saw one of our friends, this is like months ago, post I think a story when he was on vacation, Chris Harder, that he loves to just leave like $100 bills in unique places when he checks out of a hotel, maybe like under the room service. What is that, like the cloche thing that has your room service food?
Yep.
Or the tray, just like little delights. We left some pesos for our room attendant when we left the hotel, and just little ways that you can give back, but also then those grander ways in terms of, your philanthropic giving. And maybe you have to start out small. Maybe you start out giving $25, $50, even if it's just $25 a year. That's just going back to point number one about waking up early and starting in those baby steps. Same thing with giving back. If that's new for you, start small. Don't expect yourself to give away $10,000. Start small and feel that gratitude that you are able to give away this money to someone else that's going to really need it, and it's going to have such positive impact. And this kind of again feeds into point number 3 about the positive mindset. If you can really sit in the mindset of giving back, you are going to just have this beautiful feeling of joy and appreciation and want to do it continuously.
And I'll add 2 things to that. The most beautiful part about this is there's no wrong in how you choose you're going to give back, because you or your partner or your neighbor all have different ideas as to who the most ideal organization or person or whatever it is that deserves this. The good news is everybody's right. There isn't anybody that's wrong that is looking to be supported, however it is that they come across your table. So yes, we do absolutely have kind of our North Stars of what we, Allie and I, will contribute to on an annual basis through the fundraisers that we literally host in our own home, right down to what we will write checks for over the course of the year. There are by far our meat and potatoes. But that doesn't say, to me at least, to us, that that's all there is. If there's something that comes across your radar, stay flexible with it. Be able to say, you know what? This is a good time of year for X, Y, or Z. I'll give you an example. There is a pet store around the corner from us that I'll go and get our dog's food. We have 3 dogs. We go through a lot of dog food. And every single time I'll go there, they will ask whether or not I would like to donate $2, $5, or $10 or whatever it is to local groups that help with providing food at dog shelters across the province, across Ontario. How the hell am I going to say no to that? How the hell am I going to be there to pay for my 3 dogs' food and not throw $2, $5 into these other dogs' literal bowls that aren't able to have anything even remotely close with consistency the way mine does? So for $2 or $5, and I feel honestly so good about it, it almost feels selfish that I'm making this move for me to feel good. They'll never know who it came from, obviously, but I know that I've done it. And in that moment, I almost feel selfish. The return on this is almost a selfish one because I know how it makes me feel intrinsically. But the other part to speak to here is this might not have to do with anything about money at all. If you have time, give that back. Even if it's small or pockets rather, small portions of a month, a year. Do it once per year, and it's still more than the vast majority of the people that are out there. I'm not saying that once a week or twice a week you need to volunteer at the local Big Brothers and Sisters or your church or whatever. If you've got that time, go do it. Absolutely, the world needs more of all of that. But if all you have is the time to potentially go with you and your partner or you and your kids once a year to some place where it is your time that you're spending, literally nothing other than that, tell me that's not going to shift your mindset and make you realize how important things are on a much larger scale, but how incredibly grateful one should be with what you do have, especially this time of year in this part of the country where we're rolling into Thanksgiving and then Christmas and all of the rest. But all that to be said, you want to separate yourself from 99% of the people in the world, give back, whether it be in dollars or time. You will be one of the few people that do it, but I promise you the ROI on that is almost larger than anything we've talked about up to this point. All right. And finally, and I kind of just touched on it here briefly, at least as far I'm sorry, Jesus Christ, as far as being flexible, be willing to adapt, be willing to realign, be willing to pivot on what it is that you're looking to change at any given part of your life. Things are going to change. Things are never going to remain the same, whether it be in your business, your relationship, the ability for you to know that you have a schedule on your calendar that you've put in place 2 weeks ago. You need to realize, or even as early as yesterday for that matter, if that was on your schedule for today, chances are that it's not going to run out the exact same ways I think you anticipate it to every single time. So the idea of not being so hard-headed, not being so steadfast on whatever it is needing to play out the way you have it written down, I think that's part and parcel of somebody being able to be successful and separating themselves from the vast majority, because they can pivot, they can make something better out of a situation that maybe didn't turn out to be as shiny or as solid as they thought it was going into it.
I think that's kind of even going back to one of the things I said earlier about failures. And we listened to a great quickie episode from Lori Harder, Earn Your Happy, earlier today on our dog walk. That actually we did a solo dog walk in the rain. We were supposed to do a community event for Benchmark, and alas, we pivoted and we're just going to have to postpone it because nobody likes to walk or run in a big high vibe community energy when it's cold and rainy. So you have to pivot. But we were listening to this episode from Lori, and she had a great nugget about, people buy from you because of your failures. They're not necessarily learning from you to be like, oh my gosh, I'm amazing and I have raised this much money for my company and
I've never lost in anything that I've done.
Yeah, that's BS, guys. Like, we are always learning. You could have failures, whether it is, you're trying to do 8 squats of a really heavy weight or 8 heavy chest press, and you might only get 5 because you would risk dropping those dumbbells on your pretty little face. And that could feel like a failure. It could also be that you started a company and it crashed and it didn't work. There's very vast extremes of failure, but the power is in how you pivot from that, how you realign, and how you learn from that. And people are always watching and learning from you, and they want to learn from you of how you've navigated that failure. What did you overcome? How can they buy from you, support from you, and learn from you because of what you've gone through? And I think that is a wonderful way to reframe those moments, whether they be large or small, that you've had to almost be forced into that realignment and that pivot. So all of this is so similar to the mindset piece of how are you thinking about things and how are you refocusing on things when they don't go your way. And I think the sooner that you can really tap into that mindset work, and I will be honest and transparent that it's not easy. It doesn't happen overnight. Like a lot of these things, it does take effort and it does take action. But when you can operate from that powerful mindset and appreciating all of these things along the way, it's like little breadcrumbs on life's adventure plan. That some of these breadcrumbs are maybe a bit moldy because they come in the way of a challenge or a failure or a trauma. There are things that'll be large and small, but you can, sometimes it might be difficult, but you can extract lessons from them.
There's very, very, very few things that I think I would categorize as a failure, right? Like you're constantly learning with all of this, and depending on how you then share that, also lends itself to shine a light on this for other people, so that they can see what your literal mistakes were and have them avoid making the exact same mistakes over and over again. You can't fail if you don't quit. So if you recognize every potential failure as a way of maybe rethinking about what to do next and why this happened, and then move accordingly into that direction that becomes something positive and that can be built into something impactful, then that failure was really just nothing more than a lesson to get you to where you were supposed to be in the first place.
I'm going to give a real intimate example for all of you. And if you're new to the Inspire and Move show, or, consuming this on YouTube or online, then welcome to behind the scenes. That Matt and I were both previously engaged, and
What?
Spoiler alert. We were both previously engaged, and very different stories. I was a very short relationship that went from, dating to engaged, and Matt was like 10 years together since high school into, following what you thought life's path was to then, date and get engaged. And we all know how that goes. And I'm going to go with it. Thankfully, neither of those engagements worked.
Now, let's also be clear. They didn't work because we met each other while being engaged to said other people. None of that. We did not become a thing until, 6 months and change after I broke off, or I had ended mine initial engagement, I should say. So all that, it was a long time ago. So all that to be said, you grow, man. You become a different person. None of these things are bad things. Talking about pivoting, talking about, realigning or adapting to, what you now see as more impactful and what is supposed to be your true journey at any given point. It doesn't be as large as your relationship. It could truly be as simple as, I was going to order a Domino's pizza tonight. I've heard this podcast, and instead I'm going to do some grilled chicken and a salad. And that is my first step to making a proper decision, a better decision than what it could have been potentially somewhere else. We all love pizza. We will have a pizza probably once every few weeks. Pasta night once a week for sure. But all that to be said, you're allowed to pivot. You're allowed to realign, to make these adjustments and these decisions feel better for you long term, whenever you want.
And sometimes, sometimes you can express gratitude for those things. I actually have a lot of gratitude for my ex-fiance. Like, thanks so much for showing me the way that my life is not supposed to be, and that there is something better. And we hear some of our friends in the entrepreneurial space that say that this or something better. So I had this, but there was something better for me. And look at the life that Matt and I get to create together now. So I have a lot of gratitude for that time in my life. Was it pretty at times? No. But so often those failures, challenges, traumas, they're not. And you can crawl your way out of them. Some are much more traumatic and grittier than others. But I think being able to kind of practice that mindset, tap into your mindset work, and have gratitude and appreciation for some of those challenges, because maybe they're going to guide you somewhere even better. Or if you're already at that something better, then you can really tap into that mindset and show gratitude for that journey that got you here.
That's it.
Thanks so much for listening today, you guys. And I hope that these 6 ways, these 6 practices of encouraging you to believe that it is not that difficult to be in the top 1%. So why don't we just do a little recap for the top 6?
Top 6. First is going to start with being able to wake up earlier.
Number 2, add in value in areas that others are looking for but aren't necessarily doing themselves.
Number 3, make positivity your default mindset.
Number 4, exercise and move your body. Whoop, whoop.
Number 5, give back. Time or money, they're both valued.
And number 6, be willing to adapt, realign, and pivot, especially if coming out of a challenge, a trauma, or a failure. So we are sending you guys so much love. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If any of these resonated, drop into the DMs. Would love to hear from you. And if one of these really hit, definitely let us know. We have a lot of love and gratitude for you, for the Inspire and Move community. Thank you so much for listening. If you have just maybe 2 extra minutes lying around, and you would be ever so kind to give the show a 5-star rating, maybe a little review, we would love, love, love that so much. That is one of the ways that the show can grow and evolve and just be bigger and better. And we are so grateful for you. So thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing the show, for sharing this episode. And we hope you have a wonderful day, evening, weekend, wherever you are. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you again soon.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening. If you loved this episode, it would mean the world to me if you took 30 seconds and shared this on social media, send it to a friend, or leave a 5-star review. There is power in community, and I am so grateful to have you part of mine.